Hey guys, we are back. I know I had mentioned promised a video a couple weeks ago, but that involves talking to other people, me driving around, and I just haven't had the time for that, so I'm very sorry. That will hopefully come to light in 2 to 3 weeks, but I did not want to personally promise something again that I did not know when I would be able to deliver on it. And so I'd say in the next 2-3 weeks you can be expecting that video, but I did not want to go another week without addressing issues in our country right now. And so we are back, and the topic is feminism. So what is feminism? So feminism, when it first started, was a great thing. It was fighting for women's equal rights, as in to vote, work, all of those things, being able to do those things, and challenging gender roles. But what it has become today is they fight for equality. They do not want equality. They want to be over men. And so it has become a very, very controversial topic. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. When did it start? It started in 1792 by a woman of the name Mary Wollstonecraft, I think is her name, and she basically went into it saying women should have the same rights to have an education that a man does, and they should have the same equal rights, mainly focusing on like voting and things like that. So the first wave happened from the 1800s to the 1920s, and this focused on legal rights, especially the ability to vote. I believe that as a woman citizen of the US, I should have the right to vote, and any woman should have the right to vote, because they are going to be affected by whoever is in office. They are going to be affected by those laws and by those rules and by anything that the person in office decides to do. And so I think that yes, and I believe many women and men would agree with me that women should have the right to vote. And then the 1960s to the 1980s, more focused on workplace equality, reproductive rights, and challenging gender roles. Workplace equality. If you're a woman and you have been working there the same amount as a man, you should be getting the same pay wage. If you are a woman that has been working there 10, 15, 20 years less than a man that has been working there, you should not, because you have not shown your loyalty or your trustworthiness or proved yourself to get the same pay wage as a man that has been there for 20, 25 plus years. So I think that if you've been there for the same amount of time and you're doing the same work that he's doing, you should get paid the same. And then the challenging gender roles, where women are supposed to stay at the house, cook, clean, all those things, and then men are supposed to go out and work. I love the thought of that, because then I don't have to work again. But I do think that women should have the right to go out and work if they want, so they can provide for themselves, and that maybe men like cooking and cleaning, so they can stay at the house. I think that either role, either gender could do that and be perfectly happy. So I do like that we fought for that equality, and we really challenged the lines of gender roles in that way. I personally would love to stay at home and take care of the kids and cook and clean and do all of those things, and then have my man go out to work and do those things. I love the idea of that, but not most women do. Some households have the mom and the dad working, and that's wonderful. So I am glad that we fought for that. And then the third wave kind of came in from the 1990s to the 2000s. And this is when it started bringing in diversity, individuality, and intersectionality, which all that summed up means feminism for all women, not just one type. I agree with that. I think that all women should have equality and all men should have equality. And then from the 2010s to now is when it really started getting heated with online activism, inclusivity, calling out systemic sexism, all those things. I think that where we are now, it has progressed in the last 5 years, maybe even 10 years, into something much more than what it was meant to be. I think that women now, they don't want equality with men. They want to be above men, and that is not biblically correct. You are supposed to submit to your husband. And then I think that a lot of what it is today is unbiblical and incorrect, and it's not how it's supposed to be done. But we'll get more into that later. And then another question is, what can women do in the U.S. that other women in other countries can't do? And these feminists want to scream, we don't have the same rights, we don't have equal rights, we can't do this, we can't do that, all these things. Well, women in third world countries can't do the things that I'm about to list off, but women in the U.S. can do these things. And this includes get an education freely, vote in elections, work and own businesses, speak out and protest, choose who or if they marry, drive freely, access healthcare and birth control, and they can demand justice. All these things, women in the U.S. can do this, and they can very much ask and demand these things and fight for it. Even if now it's getting out of control, they can fight for what they believe in. Women in third world countries have to submit, and they are not seen as submitting partners. They are seen as someone that they can use and abuse. They are seen as someone that's supposed to stay home and do this and that and the other. And they are also, there's a thing called Sharia law, and if you don't do what your man asks, you could be abused even worse, or you could be killed. Like, there are things in this country that you are free to do that in other countries you can't as a woman. And so feminism does not look the same across the board. And then another question is, do we still need feminism in 2025? I would say no. I think that we have reached the peak of where women and men are equal, of workplace, being able to vote, have education, all those things. My simple answer is no. And I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say I don't think that we need feminism. Now, if we stopped this movement and it started regressing back to when women are getting their rights to vote taken away, to drive taken away, to start businesses taken away, all these things, and to get education are all start to get taken away, I think then we need to start back up and start fighting for those things, because everyone should have a right to that. But right now, we have those rights. We can do everything a man can. So I think that we're good. And then another question is, does feminism mean hating men? Back then, when it first started, absolutely not. They just wanted to be able to have the freedom and the right to do the things that the man could. They just wanted equality. That's all they wanted. Today, yes, it does mean hating all men, because they are going out here and they do not want equality. They want to be above men. They have the equality to do the same thing that a man does, and they are still fighting. Fighting for what? Fighting to be above a man. And I think that now we don't need it anymore. And then, another question is, does feminism look the same everywhere? And I think we kind of went over that when it was like the driving and all of those in a third world country versus here. Does not. And then, what do feminists even fight for today? I would say they fight for inequality. Inequality against men. And they are out here protesting. I think it's in the winter or spring when they go out. I could be wrong. When they go out, they wear these pink hats, and which is a vagina, and they're like, we want this, we want that. Are you fighting for rights or inequality right now? Because you can do the same thing. Laws are there that are saying you can do the same thing as a man. And then, has social media helped or hurt feminism? I think that social media has sadly helped it. I think that with everyone having the freedom of speech, most everyone being allowed to have the freedom of speech, unless you're conservative and a white male, you have the freedom of speech. And I think that with all these feminists out here, they're trying to make a movement on their channels, and they're like, we should stand up for this and this and this. Girl, you've already got this, this, and this. What else could you possibly want? You have everything that a man can do. And I think that sadly it has helped the movement, and girls will sit in their room and watch these for hours on end on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. They will watch these reels. And eventually, if they don't have these conversations with someone in the right headspace, they will start to believe these things, and they will start to believe that men are terrible and that they don't have the same rights and that they need to fight for it. What are you fighting for? If you are a feminist watching this, what are you fighting for right now? And don't say equality, because that's not true. Now, if this was 200 years ago, yes, absolutely, but this is not 200 years ago. This is 2025. What are you fighting for? I'm curious to know, because I cannot think of one thing that a man can do that I can't, unless it's biological. I cannot have a penis and they cannot have a vagina, but other than that, I don't know what a man can do that I can't if I chose to do so. There are women in construction sites. You can do that. You can go get a trade. You can do any of those things. A man can go be a nurse. A woman can go be a doctor too. A man can be a nurse. He can be a dancer. He can be a performer. Like, there are lots of girl jobs out there that men can do. And what about men being in women's sports? You want to fight for equality and all this and that and the other, but then you let a man that you hate into your sports. You're taking the opportunity for a woman to win and a woman to show her independence and all of that and how great she is at the sport away from her by letting a man go in and do that. So I don't know exactly maybe I'm just stupid, but I'm not really connecting the dots that well. I'm very confused by the whole thing. Because right now, I can do anything a man can do. I can't think of anything. So please enlighten me. Moving on. So yes, I think social media has very much helped feminism go along. And I think it has hurt conservative women and women that just want to stay home. I tell people that I want to be a stay-at-home mom, and they're like, but you can do so much more. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to take care of my kids. I want to cook and clean for my husband. I want to do these things. And they see it as a bad thing now, and that's how indoctrinated they've become by social media. And another thing that I would like to address is, what does the Bible say about feminism? And right here in Galatians 3:28, it says, there is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. So we are all equal. I think this verse is talking about salvation, but before God, there is equality. Now, there's a partnership, not hierarchy, in Genesis 2:18. Then the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. Talking about Adam and Eve. And so he saw, God is not against women. They're very important in the Bible. And he thought that Adam needed a helper. So what did he make? He gave a man a woman. He gave a male a female to help with that, and to give him a helper and someone to submit to him, and someone that he wouldn't be so alone, because Adam saw all of these animals have a partner, and he was like, can I get a partner? And so that's kind of where we're at with the Bible. And there's also verses on submission. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. Ephesians 5:22. And then Jesus' example in multiple scriptures is Jesus consistently treated women with dignity and respect, speaking with them publicly, defending them from judgment, and including them as followers, which was radical for his time. He treated women with respect, and the woman at the well was completely shunned from her entire community, and he talked to her publicly, which was like, what is a man doing, talking to a woman, much less this woman? God, do you know what she's done? Oh my goodness. Like, it was very radical for his time for a man to publicly speak to a woman that was not his wife, or fiance. So yes, I think that many verses back up the equal worth, respect, and opportunity, but I don't think there are scriptures that can back up the rejecting gender differences and the going against traditional faith structures. So with all this being said, obviously feminism started out as a very good thing and a very much needed movement for women to have the ability to vote, because whoever is voted into office will also affect them. I think that's good. Getting an education. We need to be well-read women. And we need to be able to stand up for our beliefs and our thought process and have the freedom of speech and the freedom to have free thinking for ourselves and make decisions on our own. So I think education is very important. I think being able to work is very important. And making sure that you have the equality to get paid the same as a man. But like I said, if you have not been there as long as him, you're going to have to deal with it, because he's probably gotten raises and he's shown his loyalty to that community and that company. And then I think that being able to start your own business and drive and things like that are rights that women should have. But then it is turned into a much more controversial, I guess, topic. And not necessarily bad, but not very uplifting either movement, when they're constantly tearing men down and hating on them and saying that they're terrible, but then they want to bring men into women's sports. It doesn't sit quite right with me. And then they've started telling women that we're not equal, we don't have these same things, but we can do the same things a man can. So I think that feminism started out as a good thing, and it has evolved into something much, much more, I'm just going to say it, evil right now. They are clearly not thinking straight. If you have any comments or questions about this or why I believe what I believe, definitely put them down in the comment section. I will respond to them as quick as possible. But that is my little TED Talk, Meg Talk on feminism, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And sorry, a little pop-up on the screen. I hope you all enjoyed it and that you have a wonderful week, and hopefully I will have that special video up and running in the next couple weeks. But I love you all, and I will see you next week. Bye guys.